she has for us, and then as she lectures,
Okay, we're going to get started. Thanks for coming. So today we'll talk about scars. Okay, last week we talked about liver qi stagnation. And to me, Chinese medicine needs to evolve along liver qi stagnation and scar treatment. These are the two things we need to, to me that's the next evolution of Chinese medicine. Okay, liver qi stagnation, again, is so globally prevalent. When my daughter went to kindergarten, she was so happy. When she came home, she was so angry. And the reason was she was drawing and the teacher said it's time to read. Okay? So when we're in a school system, when we cannot thrive, when we cannot accomplish what we want to accomplish, right, then automatically we go into this liver qi stagnation. We're trying to suppress ourselves, right? So over time, the people who suppress themselves the best are the nicest people, right? The people who have trouble suppressing themselves are misfits. Okay? But again, misfits are what's necessary to change the world. Okay? And misfit becomes seekers. Okay? They want to know what's going on. There's something inside of them that do not agree with what they're receiving. They have intuition. They want to know what's going on, right? So this, three talks are really for people who have this internal drive to seek. Okay, it's like I know I can heal, but where do I go? Okay, where do I start? Start with liver qi stagnation. Understand liver qi stagnation. Liver qi stagnation has nothing to do with liver. It's not a liver problem. Okay, liver qi stagnation is a very simple fact that we cannot thrive, and when we cannot thrive, we have to suppress ourselves. And the mechanism to suppress ourselves is to use pericardium channel. Pericardium channel, when it's blocked, right, it's like a gate. Okay, it shuts down. Right, so the liver, which is responsible for us to thrive, cannot pass through. Then we have a liver qi stagnation, which is an excess condition. Then we have a lung qi deficient, which is a deficient condition. Right. Unfortunately, when we look at liver qi stagnation, we see excess. Where we read the pulse, we see the tongue, we see all the symptoms, we see excess condition. That is not true. That's a false excess condition. The solution is to resolve this pericardium channel blockage, right? Really get a liver to go through into our lung, right? Really get a person to thrive, right? So to me, liver qi stagnation, if we truly understand this, right, and we practice, and we, try it on ourselves and really see the difference, we start to have first-hand experience. So all my slides, I say, do not trust me. Please, do not trust me at all. Okay? Everything I share with you is my first-hand experience, and that's it. Okay? We all need to get our first-hand experience. Do not trust me. Okay? Okay, so let's start. Okay, so this, so liver qi stagnation is one thing. Scar treatment is another. Okay? Scars are so prevalent in the society. A lot of the scar issue. Let me tell you one story, maybe two, maybe three stories to start with. Okay, when I was in internship in the school, a lady came here for about a year for fertility. Okay, every time she comes in a week, she will get mastotome treatment. Okay, over and over again for about a year. Okay, I took that class and I scanned her channel. Her Ren channel, okay, from here on, gets stuck right around this area, okay? And I said, well, can I lower your blouse a little bit? She said, yes. I lowered her blouse, and there I saw a mole, okay? A little mole about the size of my pinky, right at her Ren channel, okay? I asked the teacher, I said, can I please needle through that mole, right? And the teacher said, yes, right? So I needled through that mole, got her Ren channel to pass through. We left the room, came back about 25 minutes later. She was all tears. Okay? And she gave me the most beautiful smile. She said, I could feel my heart. Okay? When the Ren channel doesn't go through, okay, we cannot feel inside. Okay? When a person has C-sections and stuff like that, they know they need to love their kids. They love their kids. They do things to love their kids, but they cannot feel it. They cannot have fun anymore. Because why? Because when Ren channel is not going through, we have no feeling. We have very little sense of who we are. And that person, actually, when she grew up, she's a cutter. Okay? She cuts herself. She has marks on her legs and on her arms and stuff like that, right? So that was a huge change for her to feel her emotions, to connect to her heart. It was a huge deal for her. Okay, so that's just one scar condition. Okay, and I have many scars. I treat, ever since I treated so many scars. The basis for my sharing is actually from this book, Tracking the Dragon, by Dr. Janice Hadlock in Santa Cruz. Okay, so Dr. JJ, if you have the opportunity to take her class, please do. She's this crazy, fiery lady that will open up your mind. Okay? So channels are electrical in nature. Okay, so channels go through, right? So we have 12 channels that are symmetrical, and we have Ren channel and the Du channel. Okay, and because they are electrical in nature, scars are keloid tissues. They are higher resistance. So anytime we have a scar, we have the potential to disrupt that channel flow. And block the channel flow is very similar. Okay, so we talk about liver qi stagnation. Liver qi stagnation comes from the sense that I have to suppress myself. I cannot thrive, right? So it turns on pericardium channel blockage, right, and it blocks the liver channel. Okay, so that's really, the mind is actually the real deal for channel flow. Okay, so even for scars, okay, before I needle any scars, I will actually ask the person to connect, okay, connect differently or to think differently. And that will actually feel if the channels are moving. Okay, for example, person with breast cancer, for example, right, full mastectomy, right, and nothing moves. Okay, because there's a physical blockage. So the liver channel gets stuck here. The stomach channel gets stuck here. There's a whole lot of confusions around this area. And cancer patient comes in, they will say, "I am a cancer survivor. Stage 4 cancer metastasized into my spine, and part of my spine was removed. I have a titanium rod in my body, and I have survived for 3 years already," or something like that. Right? I am a cancer survivor. Right? The first thing I ask my patients to do is to stop using the term cancer survivor. Is to begin to say, "I am a thriver. I'm going to thrive every breath I'm taking from this point on." Okay. And when a person laying on the table, all the channels are blocked, right? When this person, even before this person starts, I will basically just ask this person to say, "I am going to thrive from this point on." That one phrase, "I am going to thrive." Okay? She can whisper, she can shout, she can curse if she wants, or even before she uttered that phrase, her channel changes immediately. Okay. The Ren channel comes up, right? Liver channel goes through, and a lot of times they will go, that's a telltale sign of the liver qi go through the breast, right, into the lung channel, and all of a sudden, I have runners, I have marathon runners come in. Once their liver qi goes through, they start to breathe, and they say, "Oh my goodness, I can breathe like this." Because otherwise they have to breathe in order to breathe. Okay? So again, this natural breathing, okay, this in parasympathetic mode, right, not in fight and flight. In parasympathetic, and this person is in a thriving state, right? This liver qi goes through and into our lung. The sense of breathing is automatic. Okay, it's really deep. It's very peaceful. Okay, it's very satisfying. Versus a person who gets stuck in fight and flight, could be a triathlete for all I care, right? Their breathing is not automatic, and they know it. Okay, it's not smooth, it's not deep. Okay. So before I do scar needling, right, I always get a person to connect, to start to think differently, right? To see, that person's condition differently. Then we have an opportunity. If I say, "Well, can you start thriving?" and this person says, "You're kidding me, I can't do that. I don't even needle." Okay? Because the needling itself, yes, we're going to remove or improve physical blockage, but the real blockage is in the mind. It's how we see the world. It's in our perspective. Okay? So that needs to get worked on first. Okay? So channels are electrical in nature, and because they're electrical in nature, they change instantaneously. For example, I put a needle through, that lady's mole, right? The ring channel goes through, she changed herself completely, okay? And essentially we have 4 channel modes, okay? And this is all detailed in this book, and I do have a lot of copies. It's $30 a copy, and I would just give it to you if you're interested, okay? Because if we do this, we become lighthouses, and we're going to change ourselves, right? And we have the opportunity to mutually heal with other people. Okay? Essentially, we have 4 channel modes. Okay, we have parasympathetic, which is what we learn in school essentially. Okay, except the do channel. The do channel during the daytime doesn't go through our head, top of the head. It actually comes in here, through our midbrain, come out of here, come out of in time. Okay? And the do channel is there to energize our midbrain, which is in charge of our autoimmune function, our auto functions like breathing, heart rates, blood pressure, and all that good stuff. Right? The midbrain is in charge of love, oxytocin release, our imagination, the sense of hope, all the good things that we want are in the midbrain. Okay? So the do channel needs to run. Okay? Last week we talked about how COVID-19 actually attacked the do channel. Right? It blocks mid-back. Right? It also blocks within the midbrain. Right? So that's why COVID-19 is very, very interesting. Right? It doesn't attack just the lung. Right? That's why the breathing device doesn't really work for COVID-19. Right? People can die of heart failure, kidney failures, liver failure even. Right? Why? Because the auto functions are impacted because it's in the midbrain. So scars, so channels can become imbalanced, right? I have a patient, here's another scar example. Okay? Actually not a patient, there's an acupuncturist, she actually owns 2 clinics. Okay? Her dad is an acupuncturist, her grandpa is an acupuncturist. Basically her whole family was like, Chinese medicine traditions, go back hundreds of years probably, right? She had this, she saw me, and at that time I didn't get my license, and she had, my friends said, oh, this guy's next channel, and okay. So she asked me, said, okay, I have this high blood condition, what do I do? I've seen all the doctors, even Western medicine, right? So I scanned her channel. She has a scar right here. Okay? She has a scar about this wide, okay, about this long, right on her, right here. Okay? This is exactly where the gallbladder channel is. Okay? When we understand channel, we need to understand, when we learn about UV channel, right, the first divergent channel, right? So during fight and flight, the UV channel, the bladder channel that's supposed to go all the way down to our little toe and connect to our kidney channel on kidney 1 at the bottom of our feet, right? They don't go all the way down to the feet, okay? So the UV channel divergent, the first divergent channel, which is during fight and flight, right? It goes here, it goes down to our knee, right? It's short-circuited, it goes to our kidney channel, right? And why? Because then it has better strength, right? Better intensity to strike the kidney to get our adrenaline going, right? And then we can fight and flight. It's a beautiful design, right? Same thing happens when we are in fight and flight. The gallbladder channel is supposed to go down, all the way down to our little toe. It doesn't go down to our little toe, right? Goes to the knee, comes back in to the liver channel. So we are fearful, right? We're fears, right? So guess what, right? So when there's a scar right here, okay, and it blocks the gallbladder channel from going down, it's short circuit back into the liver channel, for example. The person is constantly in fight and flight. I guess what needs to happen in fight and flight? The blood pressure needs to be high. The blood glucose needs to be high. The heart rate needs to be high. All these needs to be high, right? So all I did was to needle through her the scar. 2 weeks later, I went back to that clinic. And the reason I went there was, I have a friend, she's gonna, she's like, oh, you're gonna test, I have some, test questions and I'll give it to you or something like that. So I went back there 2 weeks later, and this acupuncturist, owner of 2 clinics, right, and she saw me, and she literally bowed to me and say, "Master, my blood pressure is all good now." It was just like that, okay? To me, I did not resolve her issue. I resolved her channel blockage, okay? She really have a channel blockage. So if you have this knowledge right now, okay, if you hear this, please make this into your own first-hand experience. When you see people having severe fight and flight reactions, for example, cannot digest, right? Cannot eliminate, having constipation or diarrhea all the time, right? Having trouble with digestion, elimination, right? Heart rate, blood pressure, or anything like that. The first thing to suspect is, why is this person in fight and flight? What's unsafe, or what's a physical blockage? Has this person been through a lot, so life is not safe? Is this person hypervigilant all the time, right? Or maybe there's a physical blockage, right? I actually saw a guy has stage 4 kidney issues, right? He's almost into dialysis, and he saw me, and I said, well, I don't know how to treat kidney issues, okay? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure your channels are flowing well, your lung is functioning well. Okay? To me, that's actually the key thing. Because that's how I work with my dad, to resolve his type 2 diabetes. Okay? He was using insulin for about 20, 30 years, and then basically no medication was necessary. Okay? He has a twin brother that has absolutely no issue. This guy actually has open heart surgery, okay? Stage 4 kidney issues, and right? And I was wondering why. I said, how's your brother? He said, my brother is completely fine. No issue whatsoever, okay? So it turns out this guy has a car accident when he was 7, okay? He broke his arm, okay? Right around this area, there was a huge scar here, okay? That basically blocked his heart channel. Okay? When our heart channel is blocked, we're constantly in fight and flight. Constantly. And guess what? All the circulation, all the digestion, right? All the proper release of stuff and elimination of toxins and stuff like that, all these are taking a back seat because you're in fight and flight. The body doesn't know we're actually not in fight and flight, but the channels represent a fight and flight state, right? So then the physical, things follows, right? So channel issues are qi issues, right? Qi stagnation or qi blockage or qi deficient, right? And that will manifest into blood stasis or deficiency, other issues, right? So hopefully, we need to start to see things from a higher level. Okay, don't just go, oh my goodness, you have a stomach issue, right? You can't, you're lactose intolerant, you're whatever, right? Look at the whole, at a bigger picture. Yes.
So I have a question. There's a patient that she has old scars that won't heal. It's due to the nitrogen because she had they did 2 biopsies and then it was like cancer tissues, and then they try to freeze it, and then now it's like 2 hard scars,
Okay.
but not scars, like a scabs that won't heal. Yeah. So how would?
Yeah. So this is actually I have this patient who was referred to me by another acupuncturist because he has a cancer. He has a skin cancer at kidney 1. Okay. And the reason why he was referred to me was because that surgery site will not heal for 6 months or maybe even longer. Okay. And how do you get cancer or skin cancer at the bottom of your foot? Right? Isn't that something to do with sunlight or something like that, right? It turns out this guy was a football player. When he was 17, he had surgery, both sides, okay, right on the kidney channel. Okay. So when he saw me, and I say, I gotta needle you because you're severely blocked. Okay, and again, people with cancer, there's a good story. Okay, either emotionally, right, trauma-wise, or physical-wise. okay? So what I did was, I actually resolved his issues. I needled through. He has tons of scars. He has 3 huskies, and he has. See, this is from my husky's bite. You know, it's like, it just never ends. You know, it's like at some point I said, can you just remove all your clothes? You know, and we just do this at once, okay? But anyway, so it's actually very interesting. So turns out. The reason, and hope I don't gross you guys out, okay? So the surgery site is right here, right on kidney 1, right? So the UV has to come in, right? So we open up the kidney channel, for example, right? So the kidney channel, because the scar, right, it's pretty obvious, right? But what's really interesting is there's a bridge right here, okay, between the little toe and kidney 1, okay? That bridge, okay, was completely blocked. Okay, so I actually needled through that, get his channel to go, and in about 3 weeks, that scar was completely healed. Okay, so unresolved scars, okay, scars that won't heal, has a lot to do with blocked channels, or channels are not going through. Okay, it doesn't have the proper energy to heal. Okay, so again, think in terms of channel flow. So what types of scars? Okay, so again, our channels, right? We have Ren channel and Du channel, which are extremely important, right? They center us, they get us to prop up, right? Right now, if we can say, I'm mindful of my Ren channel, my Ren 1, I elevate it ever so slightly, okay? I have purpose in my heart, and I connect to loving kindness from my income. If we just do this, okay? Close your eyes. And you will feel, most people will feel this natural, you just feel like you're being elevated. Your posture is naturally better. Okay? If you have spine issues and stuff like that, right? You gotta have this energy. You gotta have your Du channel running. Okay? And the most powerful energy to run the Du channel, to run any channel, is our mind, to be mindful. And we'll be talking about cultivation next week, right? And that has a lot to do with this, okay? This is something we can do all the time, okay? Room 1, elevated a little bit, so we are in our body, okay? A lot of times when we have issues, or we have, abuse or traumas, or, or physical issues in the past, right? We tend to dissociate from our body, right? Go back to our Room 1. Okay? Room 1 is essentially the source of our Ren channel and the Du channel, right? If we don't have these 2 channels running, we are not living very well. Okay? And this is something we can do all the time, okay? And it's something we gotta do all the time, okay? As doctors, okay, people will tell us like, okay, we gotta protect ourselves, okay? Don't stand here, don't stand there, okay? They're evil cheese, and if a person has cancer or in the middle of menstruation, then you gotta do this, you gotta protect yourself, right? And when you do this, wipe your hands and do qigong and protect yourself. Honestly, all these are BS, okay? We don't have to worry about that if we elevate our Ren 1, our Ren channel and Du, purpose in our heart, connect to loving kindness, and through loving kindness connect to our patients, as if they are our parents. Do not see them as as people carrying evil energy into the building. Even when we have that thought, we're already hurt, because we already are protecting ourselves. We're hurting ourselves. We're actually depressing our liver channel. Can you see that? We're not thriving. When we come to the clinic every day and we feel like we have to protect ourselves, we are depressing our liver channels. So liver qi stagnation is very, very prevalent in the medical field, because Western and Eastern is the same. Okay? We are trying to protect ourselves. Okay? The key is, how do we connect? Okay? If we connect properly using our proper channel flow, right, then we become lighthouses. We're not candle in the wind that can easily be affected by our patients. Okay? Please try it. Again, don't trust me. Give it a shot, okay? Yeah. So the type of scars that I do, all these things are what I've done before, okay? C-section for sure. Okay? C-section is a huge thing, okay? You can have a extremely rewarding career if you do nothing but C-section, okay? And it's rewarding because you be healing along with somebody who is basically just pure suffering without any reason, okay? When the baby comes out, okay, there's this natural process. If it's, baby comes out naturally, right? There's this natural release of oxytocin, right? That basically essentially get rid of all the pains, right? And make this beautiful connection with the baby. Okay, this love, this bond of love, right? Just pure love, right? That you cannot replace. But C-section broke all that, right? So my C-section patients, especially people who have, vaginal delivery and the C-section, they would just say, I cannot feel. I feel these two different children, two different kids. One I can connect with, the other one I'm just endless amount of worry. And I said that makes perfect sense. You don't have that oxytocin bond the moment the baby came out. You do not have that. You're actually fighting for your life. You're being cut open. You are in severe fight and flight, or even dissociation and pause when the baby was delivered. Of course, you will have a lifetime of worry until the scar is needled. Okay.
I
Yes.
have a question with that. So multiples, like twins and stuff, usually it's too dangerous to deliver vaginally.
Yes.
So
Again, C-section is not a problem.
okay.
Okay. I don't see anything as a problem. Okay? Anything, C-section, open heart surgery, cancer surgery, those are not issues. The issue is can we connect the channels back, right? So, earlier upstairs, right? Janelle, she had a twin, right? And I think she has C-section as well, or maybe not, but she has other surgery. But anyway, so I have people call me in the middle of the night and say, John, I felt it. I was playing with them, and I felt it. That genuine connection of joy, instead of I know what I need to do for my children. Okay? It's very, very different. One is from the left and right brain, the other one is from the heart. Yeah. So again, C-section, okay, and cancer, right? Any kind of cancer.
It's interesting because they say that for women with postpartum depression that it's higher with C-sections as well. So this, yeah,
Perfect sense.
it makes sense that the postpartum that they're dealing with is this, like you're saying, this genuine connection of joy. So
Even with people who don't have C-section, right? If they have episiotomy, which is like the opening of the birth, like tear, right? There's a tear and then they sew it back up, right? There could be dissociation, right? And the dissociation, if they have dissociation, right? Then all of a sudden the brain channel doesn't run very well because there's pain, right? And when the brain channel doesn't run well, do channel doesn't run well either, right? So honestly, for a lot of for women health, I'm certainly I don't study women health. But somehow I'm very, very good at resolving menstruation issues, digestion issues, and stuff like that because I work on livers. I work on scars. I work on channels and make sure the Rin channel and the Du channels are running well. Then the person feel empowered. A lot of times it's the sense of this empowerment that causes a lot of problems, tremendous amount of problems. Cancer, okay, all kinds of cancers. We don't do internal scars. If the scar is internal, for example, in the mouth or in the cavity somewhere, right? We don't do that. But anything that's on the surface, right? We do need knee replacement, hip replacement, open heart surgery, gallbladder removal, okay, accidents, crack the head or something like that. Anything that's along the face, extremely important. Okay, if there's huge amount of dampness, for example, along here somewhere, right? There's extra growth or something like that. Okay, very, very important to take note. Okay, very, very important. Scars along the Du channel, very important to address them. Okay, and scars along people have like eyebrow tattoo. Okay, very, very detrimental. Okay, I have a patient. She had this done probably 25, 30 years ago, both sides. Okay, she had this tattoo on the eyebrow and also on the eyeliner. Okay, and what she ended up, she saw me because she had Bell's palsy. Okay, she had shingles on the ear. Okay, and she started to have symptoms of Bell's palsy. Okay, and all I did, honestly, I kid you not, all I did was I get 2 Q-tips. Okay, I put it right here with very little pressure, and she was screaming. Okay, these tattoos, right, for beauty, right, for 25 years, her small intestine channel, her UB channel, her gallbladder channel, basically are all stuck. Okay, she has TMJ, all these facial things. It's already been there for a long time. She has a lot of rigidity, for a long, long time. Okay, so that's all we did. We opened this up. She's so much better now. Okay, so all the scars. Okay, and people do facial, like facial tucking, and they have scars along this line. Okay, right around the edge of the entire face. Got to take care of it. Okay, I do have a patient who has no feelings along the face, right? She couldn't play with her grandkids and stuff like that, right? We did all this, and it was a complete different person, for her daughters. She's like, Mom, totally different. She can laugh now. She hasn't laughed for a decade, When these things are not going, right? When the channels are not going through, we're very, very highly uncomfortable. Highly uncomfortable. Is there a question? Yes.
When someone has screws, could that help conduct the energy of the channel?
That's a good question. Okay. I would say yes, right? So anything that's highly conductive, right, kind of draw the energy there, right? But again, we provide what we can provide, right? And for that, right, it's really the mindset. Okay, if the person doesn't feel safe, right, it doesn't really matter what we do. If the person feels safe and connected and loving, right, probably we don't need any treatment either. Okay, and that, to me, I prove this over and over again. People come in without me doing anything. I say, can you just connect to loving kindness and connect to somebody you love? And boom, their energies are perfectly fine. Their channels are perfectly fine. Okay, completely fine. Right? But can we maintain that? Right? So that's where the scar needling comes from. Right? Comes in, right? Is to remove these physical scars, so we don't have these, because otherwise, when the people feel down, they actually really, really go down because they have physical issues as well. Burn, okay, burn is a big thing. Okay, people, burn themselves when they're young, right? Burn marks are in general very, very widespread. Okay, so let's say if there's a burn mark like this. Okay, this is in the back of the page. I actually have a diagram. Okay, so I label them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. So essentially, B is like a burn. Okay, it's a wide area. Okay, so the goal is to reconstruct the channel flow through that entire burn area or skin graft area. Okay, yeah. Okay. Cuts. Okay, cuts can be, like an accidental cuts. Right, it could be somebody who really cut themselves. Okay, when people cut themselves, we need to go even deeper. Right, it's like their unresolved issues, their connection to their parents are probably terrible. Right. So again, we can go deeper into that. Okay. And honestly, that's what I truly do in my clinic. Is we go that we don't say, okay, we just resolve scars and get your channel flow well. No, we resolve deeper issues. To me, healing is really, to me, I have the opportunity to meet people and for me and that person to heal mutually. Okay, every patient to me is an opportunity. For that person to see the light, to say, okay, I've been suffering through this, I don't need to suffer anymore. Okay, that person become a lighthouse. We have this opportunity. Okay. We're going very slow, okay, but since I think we're safe in this class, right?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So when you're needling the scars, are you doing any other point combinations that you just go for the channel? So you're not like
I actually don't use point combination at all. Okay, I do not. I serve to empower. Okay, so I rather use my hand, right, to say, here's where you need to put your mind to. Right, then I don't need to put a needle. Right, I can touch people's toe and say, can you get your gallbladder channel from the side of your head, right, all the way down to here? And when they do, to me, they know how to ride their bicycle. I don't want to put needles in. I do not put the needles in, especially when a person is in fight and flight. When a person comes in and feels completely uncomfortable, and we're putting needles, to me, I'm actually pushing this person further into fight and flight. Okay, so I use my hand a lot.
So if you were using, let's say there's a scar on like the liver channel, would you, I guess I'm just asking your process, like,
yes.
Would you just intuitively go to a holding place, or would you go to a point on the liver channel and hold that, like maybe like go down to the feet or something like that?
To me, you got it. You know, you basically answer your question. You have beautiful intuition. You know what to do. Please do it. Okay. Yeah, you know what to do. Yeah. So a lot of times, honestly, if you ask me a point, I can only tell you my approach. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I wish you don't either. Anybody who say, "Oh, I know what to do," honestly, they don't know what to do because they haven't seen that person yet.
Okay. I think it's hard. I don't know, but I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but like we learn all these point prescriptions for certain things, and that's what we get tested on our boards, and so
that's why that's why we only get tested on when we try to use it. Honestly, again, use your own first-hand experience.
Yeah.
Do not trust you. Do not trust me. Do not trust the books. Do not trust any protocols. Trust yourself. Try it, right? And try it not just to see results. If you try and say, "Oh wow, this person has no knee pain," for how long? Does this person keep coming back? Right? Then it doesn't work. Obviously it doesn't work. Right? It removes the symptom, but it doesn't heal the issue. It doesn't resolve the issue. Right? So we're just talking about knee pain, and I say, knee pain, you gotta look at the shoulder. This person's shoulder is probably locked up, right? And see if this person is wearing a watch. You say, oh, this person wears a big old watch, right? And of course, when you wear a big watch or a J bracelet, for example, you got to protect this thing. So you tighten your shoulder more. And this person is a runner. When you run and this is not as free as your right side, guess what? You have extra pressure on one side of the body, right? So all of a sudden, we start to talk a completely different thing. It's not just the knee. It's this entire person. And we can use this knee issue, right, as an opportunity for this person to truly transform, right? So that to me is rewarding. Yeah. Yeah.
I have another question
Yes.
about cuts. Like, my grandma is like missing half her pinky from an accident. Like,
Yeah.
what if somebody's missing a limb, or
Yeah.
would you treat it the same way as scars, or?
So that's very, very important.
And then you miss like half the channel or a lot of the channel.
Yes. So to me, it's really how comfortable. Okay. So this actually goes deeper. Okay. So I actually have a woodworking accident where I shave off some of my bones. Okay. And this has been pretty much 30 years. Okay. And my pericardial channel and my heart channel and the related channel here are actually not as efficient as the other ones. Okay. So I do feel it, right? But can I improve it? Yes. Can I be more mindful? Yes. Okay. So part of us, and that's beautiful. I'm so glad you have a grandma like that, right? So it's almost like, grandma, can I see this? Okay, can I hold it? Can you tell me what happened? Okay. If you can do that, you'll be healing yourself and she'll be healing herself at the same time, mutual healing. Because you'll be connecting to her. You're not seeing this as an imperfection or something to avoid, right? You're seeing something to behold. Okay. Then you never treat the same again. Okay. Because you're using your heart. You're making that beautiful connection. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Bites. Okay. Animal bites. Very, very important. Okay. Animal bites get a person to go into pause mode, life and death. Okay. Mole, birthmark, piercing, tattoos. Tattoos are very interesting. Okay. So I treat people with full body tattoos, right? and their channels are actually fine except a few places, right? So then we'll say, huh, do you like this tattoo? They say, oh my goodness, I hate that place. You know, I made a mistake, you know, with this person, and then we got this tattoo. I'm trying to get rid of it. I say, well, you gotta love this tattoo as well, because otherwise it doesn't go through, okay? So it's very interesting, right? So there's a physical, I mean, honestly, we can't just say, okay, this is purely physical and that's purely mindful, right? I mean, it's somewhere in between, okay? We are a spectrum.
Does tattoo removal help?
Tattoo removal actually will cause more pain, right? So it's really, and again, tattoo removal itself is not a problem. The problem is when we experience pain, we automatically go into dissociation, right? If I twist my ankle going downhill, in order to survive, I have to dissociate from my ankle, right? And so it's during that dissociation and whether we reassociate with ourselves, right? That's important, right? For example, your grandma, right? Is she completely dissociated from that finger, right? Or if she continue to reassociate with that, right? That's the difference. Right? Okay, scar treatment. Okay, so I'm just, some principles. Okay, scar treatment. So always parallel to the scars. Okay, if you see a scar like this, okay, in this place we do, people say turtle, right? You go around the scars. It's not a good way to treat scars. Okay? Go through it. Okay, so in the back of this, it's basically we go through the scars. Okay, rebuild the channels. Okay, and ideally we needle from downstream to upstream. Okay, so let's say if I have a scar right here, okay, and this is my Sanjiao channel, right? That go essentially from the middle finger, right, goes all the way up through here, right? So if I have a scar here, before the scar, that would be my upstream because this channel actually comes down, right? So that would be my upstream. So the upstream will be in access condition. Okay? So let's say I have a river and I have a wall, right? So boom, the river is going all over the place. That's the access condition. And beyond the wall, there's no water, so that's a deficient, right? So when we needle from the deficient side to the excess side, there's basically no pain. No energy, no channel, no pain. Okay? So ideally, right? For example, C-section, right? C-section is here. All the channels are essentially going from lower to up, right? So when I needle from up to down, I'm actually needling from downstream to upstream. So that's perfect, right? Except the stomach channel. Okay. But it's very hard to say, okay, stomach channel first. I need to locate the stomach channel, right? And secondly, I have to somehow find a way to needle stomach channel from the other side, right? Very, very difficult. So again, try this for yourself. If you have a C-section patient, okay, when you needle through this, there will be a few needles that are just so much more painful than the other ones, and those are exactly on the stomach channel.
So would you take the needle in the other direction or just keep?
You just keep going, right? At some point, you can't. It's just you have no access. Right? Yeah. So that's really the key, okay? And when I needle, I basically do a 0.5 cun apart, okay? Because needling to me, I aim to needle just one time, okay? And get a person. That's why I hand you guys all these little balls and stuff like that, okay? I actually make these rollers, okay, using shower door rollers, okay? So these I actually give it to people that, for example, have scars, okay, breast cancer scars or any scars. Okay, it's like, okay, once we needle, you gotta do this. Okay, gotta continue to improve. So essentially, what needling does is to say there's a wall of high resistant keloid tissues, and we poke a hole, right? And with the pressure or the energy of our channels is eventually it's gonna erode this whole wall, whole entire blockage, and keloid tissue do improve. Okay, when we needle through, whatever scars, the scars actually become fainter, more flexible, and it's just beautiful things. Okay, So once that hole is there, if we continue to work on it, using, this little ball or something like that, it's just a little bit harder to use a ball, especially if people have implants, okay? So that's why I developed these things, okay? So using this, you're welcome to take a look, okay? If you do have patients that you can use it, talk to me, okay? And I actually developed this for what? For episiotomy, okay? You can't believe, what the length of distance that I go to resolve issues, because dual channels are just so important. Okay, when people squat and put this on the room 1 area, right, you can actually get a really, really good workout. Okay, yeah. So scars, okay, and scars effects. Okay, so dual channel, when dual channel is blocked, we have potential violence, disturbance. Okay. Ring channel, block, depression, the sense of feel and love are just not there. Okay, the people who I, again, if you can build a career out of needling scars, I don't know why they're all women here. Okay, the school has no men basically. But anyway, if you can build a career out of doing C-section scars, okay, you'll have a very rewarding career because. Otherwise, it's very, very, very difficult. Okay, people who have, for example, surgery scars on breast cancer, right? You have 2 temperature zones, 2 feeling zones. Okay, it's very, very obvious. Same thing with C-section. Okay, so when we resolve this and make these things even, okay, we seriously improving people's life. Yeah. And one of the things we need to be mindful of is how we sit. Okay. When we sit with our knee or ankles like this and right, we are going into fight and flight state. I like these tables where I can see everybody's okay. Except yours, I can't see. But I assume she's fine. So gallbladder channel rigidity, okay, high blood pressure, migraine, okay, tinnitus, for example, right? Suspect channels, okay, don't just go into points and stuff like that, okay, because channels are like rivers, okay, and points are like cities, right? Along a river, the problem can occur anywhere, more than just the cities. Okay, so when we needle on these points as if these points are golden and they're supposed to resolve this, supposed to resolve that, now with scars in mind, okay, you open up an entire different world. Okay, remember the patient that we're gonna see have seen so many people. Okay, we're not gonna get a patient that's the first time I tried Chinese medicine, okay, or try any medicine, right? Most likely, we're going to see patients with a chart this thick. If you look at it and you repeat it, guess what? You're just adding depth to that chart. Okay? Start to see things beyond what's being used. Then, honestly, without graduating, without 30 years, 20 years, 15 years in this profession, you become you are an outstanding doctor. An outstanding doctor is not how many years, is our perspective. It's what we are looking. Okay, that acupuncturist, the clinic owner, right? High blood pressure for years, right? Decades, right? It's not because I'm good. It's because I look elsewhere. Because I don't go with protocol. Okay. So different channels, right? And I have, some diagrams. So mindset, okay. Let me just go over this and mindset. When both are ready, okay. Do not needle when we feel like, okay, John said scar needling, so we're gonna needle this, right? Wait until you feel you are comfortable. Wait until you feel the patient's comfortable. Okay. Do not needle people when they are in fight or flight. A lot of times I don't needle for sessions and sessions and sessions because I don't feel I'm ready. A lot of times I will actually prepare the needles, right? And since we're talking about preparing needles, okay, if I'm needling a C-section, for example, I have these packs, 5 packs, okay? I will actually grab at least 15 needles, okay? And we gotta use free hand, okay? The best way to learn this is actually through oranges, okay, Mandarin oranges, okay. Well, all we need is to peer through the skin. So again, the needle depth, okay, the needle actually goes in. The needle goes in about 45, okay. Go through the skin, okay, and then level, okay. So the needle is actually in between the skin and the muscle. So that's where we needle. That's where the keloid tissue is. That's where we break it up, okay. Yeah. So if you use an orange, Mandarin orange, not the navel orange, right? The Mandarin orange, right? It's about the thickness. Well, I guess my skin is thicker, but yeah. And we don't need to say, okay, I'm gonna needle something really hard or something very dense and build up my ability to needle. No, we're talking about skins. Okay, all we need to do is to feel. Okay, the key for needling is actually feel our sensitivity. Okay, and I would highly recommend you needle in this fashion. Okay, so essentially these two fingers and your thumb. Okay, you put this needle, the end of this needle, okay, at the middle of your index finger. Okay. And then you have a grab like this, very, very secure. Okay. Do not needle like using two fingers to needle. Okay, this is not secure. You're actually straining yourself. Okay, it's wobbly. It's not very secure. When you do this, it becomes very, very secure. Okay, and use your ring finger as a guide. Okay? You put the ring finger on where you're gonna needle, right? And you can use that as a guide because when you push your needle through, your thumb is gonna, if your ring finger is here, your thumb is gonna hit your ring finger. That becomes a stop. Okay, so that's how I find the depth of my skin. Okay? I actually feel it first, and then I kind of have a good idea of how much do I need to puncture. Okay. So that's pretty much, okay. I do have diagrams in the back that I have no time to express. And I appreciate your interest. And please, I do have a class, and Wednesday morning I do have an open clinic, 10 to 12. Stop by and we can play with it. We can share things, and honestly, I have a lot to share, and I freely share them. And the only thing I ask is, please do not trust me. Please build your own first-hand experience. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.